Mindset Mashup podcast, here we are. And if you're part of the Mashup family already, welcome back. If you're new to the platform, then you know what to do. Subscribe, leave a review, just anything helpful, we really appreciate it. And the point of this podcast is to give valuable information via the guest to young entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs along their journey to help them. And today's guest, it's a big one, it's a biggie. Greg Reid, inspired millions of people across the globe. Keynote speaker, best-selling author, not once, not twice, 32 times, I believe, Greg. Is that right?
I believe so. It might even be more as crazy as it is. And listen to this, everyone listen. I can't spell very well. I'm dyslexic. I can't read good. And I learned a very powerful tool is that you work your strengths and you hire your weaknesses. So I got amazing ghostwriters and editors that take my gift of gab and then craft them in a way people want to read in book form.
And do you know, since we're talking about the books straight away, Greg, after doing a little bit of research, I know upon the publishing your first book, you got turned down nearly 240 times.
Yeah, 268 times in a row I got turned
268, down. Wow.
The 269th one said, we'll do your book, just change the title, the beginning, the middle, the end. It sucked because, again, I'm dyslexic, man. It was all over the place. So I got a ghostwriter. They recrafted it, went on to become a global phenomenon. In fact, one quote from that book was shared 37 million times already. And you've seen the quote on coffee mugs, t-shirts. You just didn't know it was mine. And it says there, and it says, a dream written down with a date becomes a goal. A goal broken into steps becomes a plan, and a plan backed by action makes your dreams come true. That quote was from a book turned down 268 times in a row.
That's a big message straight away. The resilience, the persistence to keep going. How are you feeling? Getting turned down that many times?
Nothing. I mean, it's so interesting because I knew, I didn't hope, I didn't wish, I didn't believe, I didn't have some vision board crap. I knew in my heart of hearts I was on to something. I just didn't know how to do it. So I understood I will never let another person or myself talk me out of what I know to be true. I just had to find the solution, and fortunately I did.
So what I'm hearing is that you had so much self-belief. You might not have known the journey on how to get there, but you knew that you had enough self-belief to continue going and enough belief that you were going to find the way. Is that what, am I hearing that right?
Yeah, those are the questions I ask. How can I find the solution in the challenge I'm not seeing right now? I remember Truett Cathy, founder of a company called Chick-fil-A Restaurants. In America, it's the big fast food restaurant. And I asked him how he became a multi-billionaire. And he said, stop planning so much. Stop overthinking. I go, what do you mean? He says, well, if I'm on my sofa and I want to get to the end of the street, that's my goal. He says, but I have to look for and capitalize on unexpected opportunity. A planner is going to plan every step, or they're going to pause. If a sprinkler comes on, it goes against plan and they run back home. He goes, I'm looking for opportunity. Did a kid leave a skateboard or a bicycle out I could borrow to make my journey short? If I get lucky, I'll wave down a neighbor driving by and hitch a ride. He goes, either way, I'll get to my goal. I'm just not so caught up in exactly how it has to happen.
That's amazing. So how would I go about implementing something like that, about not getting too caught up in all the planning?
Well, I'm not a psychologist and I'm not a therapist. I'm just a regular dude here in sunny San Diego, California. All I know for myself and my friends and all the most successful people I hang out with, that is the mindset we have. So I guess the first thing you do is make a choice whether I'm not going to get caught up into that. And then I surround myself with other positive, like-minded people. So they always sit there and say that cliche is that we're a reflection of the people we hang around, and our income, attitude, lifestyle is the average of the group, but they don't share with you how to change that association. Just recently, I started something called the Mastermind Group NFT, where people can join my mastermind group from all around the world. And once a month, we come together with a collective of the most powerful, like-minded brains. So you can get information and content and direction from people that you normally couldn't. And most people let their big butt stop them. I don't mean the one they're sitting on, but they go, I'd go do that too, but, and it's that but that holds us back. I call it a bad case of the one size. I'm going to take action once I get the kids out of the house, once I get the big break. The best time to do something, take action, is the moment it's offered to you.
And I think there's a lot to say in that, isn't there, Greg? Because I think often we add a lot of friction to where we're trying to get to. So be like, oh, once I get this, I'll be happy. Oh, once, as you said, like once all I need to do is just do this and then I can do that. But there's no perfect time to do something, is there? There's no, oh, right, once this is done, you do it. I don't, I think there's something in, do you know what? Just take the first step. Just do something right away. Instead of waiting for this, waiting for that, just sort of, just do something small that's going to get you there. Because ultimately, every gap that we close that moves us closer to our goal, that's a good step, right? That's a good starting point.
Yeah, and not only that, but most people let their challenges or obstacles stop them. And at the end of the day, we've overcome 100% of every challenge we faced so far. Think about it. As a strong species, why are we afraid when we have stumbling blocks when we've already overcome 100% that have come our way? It means we're batting 1,000, get back in the batting box and keep going. To me, I mean, that's just my perspective. But the fact of the matter is, when a challenge comes my way, I just go, woohoo, no problem. I got through the last one. I got this one too.
Where do you think that comes from?
Mindset. I believe in PMA. It's back here. It's called positive mental attitude.
Yeah.
And the moment that we have that into our daily life, things start magically appearing. Rumi had a quote. It said that whatever you seek is seeking you. And I believe that comes from positivity, relationships, everything. And my friends and I, here's what we do is we ask the right questions to our universe, our gods. We sit there and say, what's the solution and a challenge I might not be seeing right now? How do I open my phone to my contacts and find a relationship that's been hiding? And what happens is it's like Google, they give you these direct answers. But unfortunately, most people ask these questions. Why does this shit always happen to me? Hold on. This is why, you dummy. And gives
Yeah.
you more. Or they say, things are going good. When's this going to go bad? Thursday at 4. That's the questions you're asking.
Yeah.
So when we reverse the questions that we put out, the different answers come our way.
Well, it's like Google, isn't it? If you write something, like I really liked that when you were just like typing out there, because as I saw that in my head, ultimately you're writing a question into Google. And what happens when you write a question into Google, you get pages of results. So when you're asking shit questions, you get bad results because you're not asking the right question. And that's something that I've really learned, Greg, is changing the narrative and changing the questions going on in my mind. And the results are a lot different when you ask different questions.
Yeah, and it's also embracing sometimes the lack, because there could be beauty and solution in there. I sat with a guy named Steve Wozniak. He started Apple Computer with Jobs. And I said, why did you guys have so much success? And he says, well, when we were new, we embraced our lack. I go, what do you mean? Well, we embraced what we didn't have.
Yeah.
Hewlett Packard would make machines that go from point A to B with 20 of these little microchip processors. They
Yeah.
were so expensive, we could only afford one. And he goes, Jobs sold his car, I sold my calculator. We pooled our money to buy one. He goes, so I took Hewlett Packard's machine and I'd pull away 5 and go from A to B with 15. I'd pull away 5, get
Massive.
10. Eventually we went from A to B using our one chip. He goes, we were not trying to be innovative or cool, or we could afford one chip. He goes, but by embracing that as an opportunity, we found the shortest, cleanest path. And by doing that, we changed the way people do personal computing forever. He goes, where could you be in your own life, your own business, if you stop looking at something, your greatest challenge and obstacle? It could just be your greatest blessing and opportunity in disguise.
I love that. And there's so many points there that I hope people are hearing as I'm hearing that, because that the lack that we perceive, if used correctly, can be our greatest innovation. I
I,
believe. What do you
well,
think of that?
yeah, I just got done saying it 5 times. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. I
Yeah.
mean, I told you I can't spell. I'm dyslexic, so I found the solution. Wozniak didn't have a bunch of dough, so they found a solution.
Yeah.
Whole thing. Everyone's on the sidelines bitching and complaining and whining what they don't have, or they're looking over the corner at what everyone else has. They're
Yeah.
doing comparisons theory, and we got to get rid of that. It's so interesting. The biggest thing that holds people back, I ultimately believe, true to my heart of heart, is the fear of criticism. It's the fear of what other people are thinking. And the funniest thing is no one's thinking about you. They're dealing with their own situations.
Yeah. We care
So
more about what they think than they actually care about what they think of
they
us.
don't, they don't think. And
Yeah.
what's interesting is they'll change their thought anyway once you have success. So it doesn't make a difference. So at the end of the day, there's a bumper sticker that says, like, what would you do if you couldn't fail? I say throw that in the trash. What would you do the moment you stopped giving a shit what people thought? Would you
Mm.
start that business? Would you ask someone out for a date? What would you do different the moment you have that mindset? And that's where success is, right on the other side.
Yeah, I completely agree. We spend so much time worrying about what people could be thinking of us, worried about what they could be saying. And every minute you waste on that, you're wasting your own time to go and actually achieve whatever you're looking to achieve, whether that's success or whatever it may be. And so, Greg, if we were to rewind 20, 25, 30 years ago, what would you say is the most noticeable change in you?
I just learned a few valuable lessons and then applied them. That's it. I mean, the whole thing is apply, right? You can learn everything, but if you don't do anything with it,
Yeah.
doesn't mean much. So I learned tip number one, surround yourself with people you have respect for, not people you have influence over. And that
Mm,
means to seek counsel and not people's opinion. Opinions based on ignorance, lack of knowledge, inexperience, like all your family friends who've never done what you're about to venture upon. Counsels based on wisdom, knowledge, mentorship, people pave the way. If I go to a family friend and say I'm going to write a best-selling book, they're going to talk me out of it to protect me, to keep me safe because I'm dyslexic and they've never written a best-selling book.
yeah.
I go to Jack Canfield, who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul and sold 1 billion copies. He says, Greg, sit down. Here's what you need to know, and give you counsel based on wisdom, knowledge, mentorship.
Yeah.
If we would spend our activities only seeking counsel and ignoring opinion, that's the day your life will change.
Yeah. That's interesting. That's very interesting. And I like that what you said, just to rewind when I asked you that question, the first answer you said was I seeked some knowledge, learned some values, and I implemented and I applied it. And I think that comes back to what you were saying earlier when we were talking about how we add friction to things like, oh, I have to wait until I take my kids to school, or I have to wait until I live here, this part of the country, or we wait for all these things, but all that actually really does is just add in friction, and it's almost an excuse for us not to take action, really, isn't it? Let's just say it what it is.
Yeah, and a lot of people, like I'll even use, and I think you're in UK.
UK.
Uh, a lot of people sit there and say, "Oh, I'm in a different part. It's different for you. I don't have the same opportunities, or you don't know the small town I'm in." I say just bullshit. Here's the bottom line: wherever you're living and you're watching or listening to this right now, you're in the smallest little village. I promise you, there's the number one restaurant that everyone goes to. I
Yeah.
guarantee there's a car dealership that everyone knows by name. I guarantee there's a grocery store that's called whatever and that everyone goes to. Those people found success in it. You can too. They found opportunity where you're finding excuse.
Yeah.
The secret
I like that.
is to see the opportunities that are around us and then capitalize on them, even when they're unexpected. And here's another thing. What if God in the universe granted every wish and every prayer, but we didn't like the packaging, so we sent it on its way? Said, God, I need $100. Please, Lord, give me $100. A friend drives up in a pickup truck full of aluminum cans and says, hey, man, I got these for you. Go cash them in. They're worth $100. I don't want those stinky things. Get them out of here. Well, you
Yeah.
asked, you prayed, it was delivered, but you didn't like the packaging, so you sent it on its merry
Yeah.
way. The
Yeah.
chances when you ask for your next gift, maybe it doesn't come to you because you didn't have gratitude and appreciation. So
Yeah.
that's where the saying comes from. Be careful what you ask for, because you might just get it and it might just not be the packaging you're expecting.
Yeah, and that's what I was about to say. It's the expectation of what we have. So when people would do these affirmations, I know that I'm not really keen on them myself because I think often we're telling ourselves something that we don't even believe ourselves, but it creates an expectation of, oh, I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to be a millionaire. That's one that I see online a lot. And but that requires work, and that's not the package that people want it in. It's not the package that people want it in, you know. And I see a lot of this online, but just I think what you said earlier, like swapping that for gratitude. It might not come in the packaging, but it's come here, and it's time to execute, and it's time to take action, not add any friction. And when when you look back, is that something that was? Did you have you learned the skill to take action? Were you someone that's always been able to take action? Yeah, so I suppose is that always been a part of you?
Yeah, I just don't let other people tell me what I can and cannot do. That's it. It's again, it's not rocket science. I'm just a regular guy. Trust me. I'm almost 59 years old. I skateboard every day. I live on a beach in California. I'm just a beach dude. And the mindset that I have is I don't let people tell me what I'm capable of. So I'll give you an
Mm.
example. I sat down with a founder of a nonprofit called Make-A-Wish Foundation. It grants wishes to terminally ill kids. And I asked him what his wish was. And he said, no one ever asked him. I says, well, I'll grant your wish. What do you want? And he says, I want my story to be told so my grandkids will know I did something. So I took out an ad for someone to help me write a screenplay on Craigslist. I didn't know where to start. And what happened is we created a movie that
Yeah.
trended for 2 years on Netflix. We were up for an Oscar. We are trending worldwide. You can stream anywhere, all because we took action. I didn't know how to do it. And guess what? I never ran a camera. I didn't do catering. I didn't sew any costumes. I made a movie by surrounding myself with the people who knew what they were doing, put them together as a collective, and together we impacted the lives of many.
Yeah, because you produced the film, and as you said, it's trending on Netflix. And so your mindset as you go into, as you're not afraid and you're not allowing people to sort of tell you what you are or you're not capable of. What's your mindset as you go into these projects? Are you yeah? How are you feeling as you go into them?
As a student,
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm a student mindset all the time. Every project I do something that I've not done or experienced before. So for example, I'm like writing a new book right now. It's called The Secret of Happiness. So I'm interviewing neuroscientists, the celebrities, the rap artists to find out what's the secret of happiness and find out if there's common trait. But every one of them, I'm not going telling them what I think. I'm asking what they think so I
yeah,
can change my point of view.
mm,
And so I'm always doing it from a student's mindset. And by doing that, you stay cool and humble where you don't get in your own direction. Like I'm not going to ask some Oscar winning producer or tell him how to make a movie. I'm going to ask him how to make a movie. So
yeah.
it's a student's mind.
Just like the curiosity and sort of like the eagerness to learn rather than tell or advise or get your own sort of assumptions on what should or shouldn't be. And I think that's a big one. And I think that can be applied to many different sectors of business as well. Like I know I was listening to something from Greg Hoffman, who's the CMO of Nike. And he said it's really good to be curious when you're in marketing because it allows you to bring in different things that maybe people aren't thinking of. And I think that's something I think that's something that I'm definitely trying to sort of inherit that curiosity. I feel like I'm a genuinely curious person, but it's always good to just rehear it, you know?
That's great. I know we got about 8 more minutes, but I'm going to
Mm.
share with you one of the greatest takeaways. I did a book called Wealth Made Easy, where I interviewed people worth 100 million to $1 billion. For 3 years, I went on a journey to interview these people to find out what they did. And it was interesting, like Tonino Lamborghini. I said, how do your Lamborghinis, tell me the story. And he says, all you got to do is create a product, good service, or experience that people save their money. They'll just give it to you. You never have to run an ad. I go, what do you mean? He goes, well, no one's going to save all their money to buy your book, but they'll cash in their 401k to drive my car. He goes, you're not going to spend $3,000 a night to live in your own apartment, but you're going to go to Anaheim and give it to a mouse with big ears. He goes, if you can create a product, good service, or experience that people save their money, they'll happily hand it to you time and time again. And I started sitting down with all these amazing thought leaders to find out exactly what they did. But one of it kept coming down to something called CPC. And I wish I would have learned this. So for the younger people, if I could turn back time, this is the one lesson I would have changed everything. And it's CPC. It's an acronym that stands for clues, C, patterns, P, choices, C. And it's
Ooh.
about accountability and responsibility for everything that happens. It is your fault. It works like this. If I go out on a first date with an amazing woman and she's 20 minutes late, anything could have happened, but there's a little red flag. That's the first C. That's a clue. I like her and I keep dating her, and every single time she's always late. That forms a P, which is a pattern. Now it's my C, my choice, whether I deal with it, I yell at her, I tell her a different time, I break up, but it's not her fault. She's just late. We have to stop trying to change people to fit into our own little paradigm box because no one wants to be changed. But we'll see someone with a bad reputation. They'll cheat your best friend. We do business with them thinking it'll be different. And when things go wrong, we're mad at the person. We saw the clue, we saw the pattern, we made the choice. It'd be like seeing a rattlesnake rattle, bite your kid's sister, you go to pet it, get bit, and you're mad at the snake. Looking back, rarely will we be angry at relationships that failed or negotiations that fell through. We're just mad at ourselves because we stayed in too long. We saw the clues, we followed the patterns, but we made our choices late.
I love that. I absolutely love that. That's incredible, and it's so true as well. And ending on choices is perfect. Greg, as we wrap up, what advice, as you know, my audience, mainly young entrepreneurs, people exploring into business or currently in business themselves, what would you be saying to them right now?
Surround yourself with a mastermind group. Seriously, do it. Stop thinking about it. All the opportunities are around us, but we let our butt or our one's eyes stop us. And by the way, if you go to Instagram, mine is Greg S. Reed. Greg S. Reed. You go there, DM me. The only thing is I ask is I don't like to talk about the weather or what you had for dinner, but you go, hey, what's a good business book for me to read? Who do you know? I'd be glad to engage with you 100%. And for those of you who are saying, hey, I want to join a mastermind group, go to mastermindgroup.com. Come play with us. My whole goal and mission is to get 1,000 to 2,000 like-minded people from around the world, where once a month we come as a collective. And I've got the founder of E Entertainment Network, who created the Kardashians, in my group, all the way to Carol Baskin from the Tiger King. I've got Instagram stars, the celebrities and movie stars, all the way to regular people like us. And we come together and say, hey, I'm working on this challenge. What do you guys see? And then you get input and directive from people that you would never have access to. And so the whole intention is over the next couple of years of growing this to such a great community that we're helping one another and inspiring lives all around the globe.
Love that. And I'll make sure I leave that in the description for people that want to check it out. So we've seen where we can find you on Instagram. Greg, it's been a pleasure. For those still listening, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, go leave a review, go follow Greg, get involved in his mastermind. As he said, who you surround yourself with is the results that you get. But for now, we'll see you next week. God bless you all. Let's go.
Word out.